Hey everybody, my name is Joshua Fequiere, and I want to welcome you to another timeout. Now, today's timeout is titled, Keep the Focus, the Focus. Now, some of you, I can see the question marks over your head like, Josh, what did you just say? Listen, keep the focus, the focus. Now, what do I mean by that? Well, just recently I was in a three-way conversation, messaging, and it was myself and two other individuals, and we were talking about, work-related things. And somewhere in that conversation, the conversation just kind of took a different turn, where one person decided that they were going to share their feelings about how they felt about certain things that were going on. And so it was interesting to me, now that I think about it, is that where it was an active three-way conversation, after this person asked a question to two of us, one of the person got silent. So I just didn't want to leave the person sitting there quiet who asked the question. But they pretty much said how they felt about what was going on, and they asked, was I missing something? And so I'm very particular about certain conversations that I have. I try to be very mindful, and there's certain people that only a select few people that I really would share my personal opinions about certain things and get into certain topics. Otherwise, I just kind of keep to myself. I just know how things are. And so this person's like, am I missing anything? So I said, you know what, I'm just going to answer the question and let it just be a mutual response. And so they was like, am I missing any factors here? And so I said, you know what, this is not even my personal opinion, but from what is going on and what was found out, these are the factors. That's what I know. And this person was like, but what if it's such and such happened? But what if it was this? And I was like, well, I'm not even going to go there with the person. So I'm just giving them whatever the facts was, and I'm acknowledging what they're saying. And I was like, yeah, I see what you're saying. This is the stuff that was found out, or whatever the case was. And then for everything, they was like, but. And meanwhile, the person who was quiet, in the meantime, who slowly dropped off the conversation, is messaging me specifically, individually. And they was like, don't say nothing. Don't respond. And so suddenly I'm realizing, because that person knows this individual more than I do, and I realized, I'm upset with myself. I got sucked into this conversation, and I should have saw what was going on. This person really, when they asked the question, was I missing something, it wasn't because they wanted to know the answer to it. They were starting a conversation that they wanted to release what they were thinking about it. So it was just a conversation starter, a hook and worm, and I got caught by that. And I thought, man, I'm being mutual right now. And this is what should have been a red flag for me in the first place. Why I shouldn't have even been in this conversation. This person had a rebuttal for mutual statements that I was saying. I wasn't even talking about how I felt about anything. How do you have a rebuttal for a mutual statement? So that should have been the first red flag for me. And so the conversation basically went nowhere. We were derailed when we was talking about work, and I'm so upset with myself because I'm usually better than that. I don't allow myself to get caught up in any type of conversation. And so to this moment, I never shared my personal opinion about anything. But that person, they had how they felt, and I guess maybe they just wanted to vent. So I don't even remember how the conversation ended. It probably ended with them just having a little monologue until they felt better. But the other person was laughing and messaged me. It was like, I told you not to respond. And what happened was I lost focus. I was multitasking. I was working, and I was just, responding. But this is what happens when you lose focus. It's so easy to lose focus. It's so easy to forget what the objective was in the first place. We were supposed to be talking about work. How did I get distracted? How did I lose focus? And it happens so easily, but listen to this. There are consequences to losing focus. You see, think about this. How many of you ever picked up your phone? Let me tell you how easy it is to lose focus, especially now in today's time and with everything that's going on. How many of you ever picked up your phone to do something, 20 or 30 minutes pass, you put the phone back, And then you realize I never did with the phone what I intended to do in the first place. You never responded to that text you picked up the phone to respond to. You never called that person. You never sent that email. What happened? You lost focus. I'm not pointing fingers unless I'm pointing back at myself too. It's just that easy. But this is what happens. There are consequences to losing focus, because this is how I heard it when I was thinking to myself. You lose when you lose focus. You always lose when you lose focus. You can lose time. That's what happened to me. 15 minutes after the conversation started, I realized it was a conversation that was going nowhere, down a rabbit hole. There was no resolution. Listen, some people, if they're off the reservation, if they're off to the deep end, and they're in their own little world, some people you can help and say, you know what, I see what you mean, but there's a whole nother side that you're not considering. And they will listen to what you got to say. And then there's some people you can't help. You know why? Because they don't want to be helped in the first place. You can't help somebody who doesn't want to be helped. And because I wasn't focused and I couldn't see where the conversation was going, I got sucked into it and I lost 15 to 20 minutes on something important that I was working on in the first place. I'm behind now when I was trying to be ahead. You always lose when you lose focus. Think about it. You ever went to the grocery store? You ever went to this place? For me, Walmart is the superstore. They have everything in there, and I can find myself down an aisle I have no business being down. I'm looking at beach chairs, and we're on quarantine. And so, I mean, you can find yourself doing something, and you find stuff in your cart that wasn't what you went to get in the first place. Sometimes you can get everything else except the thing you went there to get. You went there to get cereal or milk for the cereal, and you came home with some magazines, chocolate bars, and a Redbox movie. You know, and so it can happen that easily. But what happens is you get there, you get home, and you see that all this stuff that wasn't what you went there to get, and you realize, I just wasted money. You lose when you lose focus. So what are you supposed to do? Keep the focus. So here's what I want you to take home with you today. This is my key point, and I hope that it really helps you, because this is something I'm implementing myself. There's so much distractions right now. There's so much things that are going on that can pull you away from what really matters. And we don't have any time to waste. You see, last week I talked about how we still have 6 months left in the year, and we are to celebrate small wins, meaning there are things that we probably weren't able to accomplish because of situations and health crisis and pandemics and all that's going on. But don't give up on 2020 just yet. But what you have to be is you have to be very intentional and deliberate. So you celebrate small wins. But what I want you to take home with you today is have an objective for everything that you do. Have an objective for everything you do. Keep the focus. For everything that you watch, let there be an objective. For every conversation that you have, make sure you have an objective for that conversation so you'll never lose track. For everything that you read, for everything that you're giving your time and attention to, we have so much ground to make up. A pandemic and quarantine was not really a part of anyone's business plan. Yes, there's the unknown that you have to take account for, but some stuff that happened that set us back, we never probably would have guessed that it would have happened. So from here on out, you have to be intentional if you're still going to make this year a productive year for you. Have an objective. And I'm not saying that it's all work and no play. Trust me, I'm a person who really likes to have fun and get things done. But if your objective is that you want to have a good couple of laughs after work, then do something. Watch something that's going to make you laugh. But make sure you know how long you're going to watch it for. Have an objective. Put some time limits on things. I mean, if you're going to conversate with people, call people that you haven't spoken to, check in on family, you call and you check and you do this and do that. But make sure that you don't lose track on what other things that you have to take care of too. Because you can lose a whole day to do and come home and feel like you didn't accomplish one thing. You can lose a good couple of hours just streaming and doing this with your thumb on social media. You see what I'm saying? So have an objective for whatever you're going to do. Keep the focus. Remember, there's distractions all around us. And I don't want you to be distracted, because you know what? You lose when you lose focus. So don't get distracted by the meaningless things. You have so much to do and you have so much to accomplish, and you can still make 2020 your best year yet. But you have to keep the focus to focus. Why? Because you lose when you lose focus. So I hope this helped you today. I hope you were blessed. By the way, just a disclaimer, I'm not me and the individual. It was never like a heated conversation, and we never argued about anything. We have no ought against each other. It was never a heated conversation. It was a meaningless one. But it happens sometimes to the best of us. But I tell you what, I'm gonna keep the focus to focus, because I got stuff I need to do this year. I got boxes I need to check off. I'm still going to give 2020 my best, and I pray that you do the same too. But you can't lose focus. So I pray you're blessed, and I'll see you at our next time out, and I'll talk to you soon.